morning, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Dylan Frittelli. A special welcome to our clients and our colleagues from our offices in Mauritius, Kenya, Rwanda, Namibia, and Uganda. We are delighted that South African golf superstar Dylan Frittelli has made himself available to have a chat with us. Dylan is currently in South Africa on a well-deserved summer holiday after finishing third in the South African Open in Sun City last week. We thank our colleague, Colin Frittelli Davies and Lloyd Christie, as well as our marketing team for making today possible. The order of proceedings for this webinar will be as follows. Colin, who happens to be Dylan's sister, will introduce him. Can't think of anyone better. We will then show you a quick video of Dylan to enable those of you who haven't followed his career to see what a remarkable talent he is and how hard he trains. After the video, we will have a fireside chat amongst two great golfers, where Dylan and I will be sharing tales, regaling some memorable moments of our golf careers, and of course, throwing some tips for you, the amateur golfer. That was a joke, by the way. We will have time for you to ask Dylan questions. Please post your questions in the Q&A area below on your screen. Please give us your name as well as the question. We have asked some members of our audience today to video their swings and make them available to us. At the end of the interview, after my colleague Julius Oosthuizen has made closing remarks, those of you who wish to stay on the webinar can do so and can listen to Dylan comment on these superb swings. Dylan, we would like your honest feedback. I can assure you, apart from one person, it was not the love of law that deprived the world from being able to see any of these swings on a weekly basis. I just want to apologize on behalf of our CEO, Mzima Goodwa, who was going to participate in today's webinar. Unfortunately, Mz had to attend a funeral this morning and sends his apologies. Over to you, Carla.
Thank you, Dylan. Morning, everyone. And again, thank you for joining us. I have the pleasure of welcoming my baby brother, Dylan Frittelli, to our leadership talk today. And just to give you a brief summary of his life so far, obviously, I've known him for his whole life, and he was born in Johannesburg in 1990. Our parents have worked very hard and brought us up, I believe, in a manner which has helped us both exceed in our various fields. And my father's a small business owner, my mother a teacher, sport in particular, and they were both great sports people in their own rights. And the work ethic, the hard work, they definitely instilled confidence with some modesty and methodical approach to basically what we do. And they've always given us their full support, which I think is a very important part of a parent's role, that they live in bringing up great leaders. And from a golf perspective, my brother was a fantastic sportsman as a young boy. He played national and provincial sports, from hockey to cricket to baseball, and then focused on golf from the age of 15, 16. And him and my mother drove around the country playing as much golf as he could. And that resulted in him winning the Callaway World Golf Juniors, which has also been won by the likes of Tiger Woods. And he later went on to win the SA Boy Championship. And he did some tutoring and matriculated, so he left school again to focus on golf. And then at the age of 17 was in America, in Austin, Texas, where he studied geography and on a scholarship and played golf as part of his college team, sunk the winning putt for his national championship from a university perspective, and university golf is huge in America. Thereafter, in 2012, he turned professional and again won his first tournament on the Challenge Tour in 2013. He's won on the Sunshine Tour, on the European Tour, and most recently, he won on the PGA Tour. That was the John Deere Classic. And I think what is most notable more recently is the fact that he came tied fifth at the Masters, which is one of the most prestigious golf tournaments in the world. And I know a lot of people aren't necessarily golfers and the focus is leadership. So his career thus far is just to illustrate that on each level in a golfer's perspective, from a golfer's perspective on the different tours, he has, he's excelled and he's moved on to the next stepping stone, which again, I believe comes back to the foundation that we received from our parents and also from his hard work, his heart, and his ethics. So I'm so proud of him, and I believe that we can learn a lot from what he has learned through his career thus far. Similarly, he is a leader in the way he manages his golf career, similar to what I do as part of the Natural Resources and Environment Department. I have a passion for leading younger practitioners to become great executives and leaders themselves. So I'm going to hand back over and go and follow the agenda. And thanks again for joining us.
Back on the tee from Johannesburg, South Africa. Golf zone, Kelly Slater, Dylan Frittelli.
It's a try for birdie. Take that. Just as much.
Thanks for that, Colin, and thanks for that fantastic introduction. Dylan, to start off with the questions, we hear you started about playing golf at a young age, but what age did you start, and did you go for formal lessons up front, or how did you begin your golf career?
The earliest memories I had was just hitting on the driving range with my dad. We're living in Johannesburg, and I went to there's a range in Woodmead just opposite where the World of Golf is now. So I remember whacking balls out there at the age of probably five, maybe 6 years old. Yeah, so that was it. Waking him up on a Sunday saying, let's go play some golf. And he would give me some tips here and there. And obviously I wouldn't listen to him because he didn't know anything. Or at least I thought so. No, he knew a lot and gave me a few tips. But yeah, that was the earliest. And then I had some formal training when I was sort of 10, 11 years old, just doing the little golf camps in the holidays.
And then at school, you were a fantastic school athlete. You played many sports. You were provincial in many sports. How did you land up choosing golf?
Yeah, it was quite a tricky decision. Growing up, soccer was probably my biggest sport. I loved playing it. I played club soccer at Balfour Park in Johannesburg, and then moved to Pretoria. I actually captained the Gauteng North under-13 hockey team and soccer team. Had back-to-back weeks in the holidays where I flew down, had to miss one day of the national soccer tournament to go down to the hockey tournament. So captained both of those sides and figured, one of those two sports would be the thing that would kind of propel me into high school. And luckily enough, I went to a school in Pretoria that said, sorry, we won't let you play golf alone. I was 15 years old and wanted to just focus on golf. And that kind of forced me to leave that high school and do a little private tutoring thing. So I was about 15 years old that I realized, hey, team sports, probably not the best idea. I just had to rely on selections. I was on the right side of selections, but sometimes in your career, you can get sort of stonewalled or stopped from progressing to the next level. And I thought an individual sport like golf, where I could sort of control my destiny, would be a much smarter option. So that was the age of 15.
And so when you decided to homeschool, I mean, you're an intelligent guy, right? So that's a big call for you to make. You had pretty much decided then that you were going to follow a golf career.
Yeah, it was either just listen to the headmaster. I was already playing first team cricket and first team hockey at St. Albans in my grade 9 year. So I would have had 3 more years of high school staying at that same level. I mean, maybe I could have played some provincial stuff at an early age, but there was no real progression for me. Okay, I've got 25 caps for the hockey team in grade 9 and what more is there to do? So I just looked at it like, hey, I have never progressed on the golfing side. I've always done it in the holidays, just in my free time. And I would get pretty good after 25, 30 days of playing in the holidays. And then I'd go 2-3 months in the school term and lose my game pretty much. So I thought, hang on, let me give it a full run. And the headmaster wouldn't let me do it during the school time. So luckily my mom, being a teacher, did some research, and we found a way for me to still matriculate and do the golf on the side. And I ended up speeding it up and finishing a year early, actually.
Wow. And did you, when you finished school, was that like a proper matric? So you graduated properly and gave yourself an extra year to play golf?
Yeah, I mean, I got university exemption. The funny thing was, I actually got my matric from Pretoria Boys High. So St. Albans and Pretoria Boys are rival schools, but in the old days you could sign up as a part-time student. So I just wrote the matric exam, and that counted for my years, basically my whole matric. So I did 4 subjects my first year, and 2 which would have been my grade 11 year. So grade 10 year, 4 subjects, grade 11 year, 2 subjects. And yeah, I got university entrance, got 4 distinctions, and finished that up and headed off to the States.
Wow. And who helped you make these decisions regarding your career, like what to do, to homeschool? Did you have a mentor? Who gave you advice around these areas?
It was my family. I didn't really have any sort of golfing mentors or schooling mentors. Obviously, when I was in school, I had headmasters and teachers that I looked up to, and that obviously sort of shaped my mindset and the way I see the world. But my mom definitely had a pivotal role in that phase, because she was driving me around to tournaments and sort of helping me get the framework and the structure to do all of those sports. And then when one avenue was sort of blocked off, she said, well, Dol, we've got this option here. You got private tutoring. We can train for 5-6 hours a day and then do work in the afternoon if you'd like that. And I thought, well, hey, let's give it a go for a year. If I don't enjoy it or my golf doesn't progress, we can always come back to normal high school structure and start playing hockey and all that stuff again.
You went to the University of Texas to play golf. How did you come about to the University of Texas? You know, did you always wanted to play college in the US? Just take us through your thinking around that.
I always wanted to study. I know many golfers in South Africa haven't even finished high school. So they're just sort of 17 years old. They're one of the top players in the country. They just go, oh, there's so much money in golf. I'm going to make it. It'll be easy. But I saw that as sort of a short-sighted gamble, really. You can say that you're going to go out there and make millions like Ernie Els or Charles Schwartzel is easy to say, but very few people make it in the world of golf. The numbers are so small, just like in any industry, but golf is even tougher. So I realized, hey, let's look at the world rankings and figure out what most guys do. And I realized if you take the top 100 players in the world, probably 70% of them have played college golf. So I'm always the one that analyzes things and looks at the numbers. And I thought that's going to be the best way to do it. A, I get an education for free because I'm good enough to get a full scholarship. B, I'm playing against the top amateurs in America. And then in the summer, we play amateur golf across the world. So I was able to progress and play another 4 years on a different continent, learn new skills. And while you're doing it, you're at university, and the university system in the States is set up such that you can do all that stuff and still graduate and still study and get a good degree. So for me, to use the American word, a no-brainer, it was pretty much a no-brainer for me, getting 4 years of education for free. I mean, we traveled all over the place. I played golf in Japan, Hawaii, about 20 different states across the US, Puerto Rico. I mean, we went all over the place, and that was all funded by the university. And I got a great degree as well. University of Texas is, I guess, one of the top 10 public schools in the US and top 30 or 40 universities in the US. So yeah, it was a really fun time for me. And in the beginning, I didn't know what to do. I just thought, oh, I'm going to go wherever in the States. And then I started doing my research, and we actually had a family member, cousin of mine, Vincent Frittelli, is a pretty famous violinist. So he was a professor of music at the University of Texas. And that's kind of what got our interest in the university. And fortunately enough, the coach saw me play at Junior Worlds in San Diego. I won that week. And next week took a visit to Austin, and he offered me a full scholarship. And I guess the rest was history.
And just give us a feeling for what the average week is like as an athlete at university. Like the when you study, when you practice, when you play. How does that all work out?
It's a pretty cool setup. So I typically took 12 hours or 15 hours of classes in a normal semester. So that freed me up a little bit. A lot of students went 18 or 20 hours to try and finish their courses a bit quicker, but Monday, Wednesday, Friday is a class schedule. So I would have classes 9 o'clock till 12 in the morning pretty much. And then Tuesday, Thursday, you'd have maybe 8 a.m. to midday again. We would have lunch after classes and then head out to the golf course, which is about 20, 30 minutes away. And we'd just spend the whole afternoon out there till the sun goes down. So 4 or 5 hours in the afternoon, just training, playing with buddies, little chipping contests, and maybe some drills that the coach has for you. But it was a really fun time for me. I actually didn't have a car in college, so it was quite tricky for me to catch rides with guys and head out and back. And yeah, and all throughout that, you're obviously worrying about the study. So I was really diligent on that side to try and get a lot of my work done on campus or before the work had to be done, so I could focus on the golf entirely. And obviously the travel schedule was pretty tough. We missed between 15 and 20 days of class in a normal semester. So it was tough to catch up sometimes, and I would miss tests, but usually the university administration had sort of leeway for us to make up tests and do things like that. And then you got to sprinkle in workouts as well. We would actually do 6 a.m. workouts while I was there 2 days a week, sometimes 3 days a week. So you're basically busy from sunrise to sunset, and then you're trying to balance the social life as well. So the weekends were usually filled with golf. We'd play at least 1 round, sometimes 2 rounds on the weekend. So it was just, I guess, full go for 4 years. And I look back and I'm like, how did I manage that schedule? As tough as it is now, I have a lot more control and I can slow things down. But back then it was just head down. You're trying to knock out all of those things, from studying to golf to social life. And yeah, it was a fun time for me. I would do it tomorrow. Like if I could go back and do 4 years tomorrow, I would totally do it.
And do you have any advice for youngsters wanting to apply to college in the US, how they go about it, what they should look for, things like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky because not a lot of South Africans know how the system works over there. So do your research. That's the main thing. A lot of guys have gone to universities that they thought were great offers and cool, I got a full scholarship, but they arrived in North Dakota or somewhere up in Pennsylvania and they've never seen snow before. All of a sudden, 4 months or 5 months a year, they're in the Arctic tundra and they can't get outdoors and play their sport or see the sun or whatever it is. So yeah, do your research. I'm actually hoping to start a foundation here in South Africa that can advise kids and give them opportunities over there, because I think the system is set up so well for many different sports. I mean, I met tons of swimmers and hockey players and other South Africans that have made it over there, had friends play soccer. So there are tons of opportunities there in the States, and it's not always a thing that you want to be a professional in whatever sport you're in, but hey, you might be really good at your sport that could give you a free education over there at a top-notch university. So I'm in the, I guess, process of starting something like that to try and help some kids out. And I think it's the best system. I mean, you get a great university education, you get to meet people, travel the world. And for me, university is going to be a fun time no matter where you are. But if you can do all those things and broaden your horizons, I think for me, that was the cool thing about college.
You hit the winning putt in the NCAA championship. I mean, to give a win for the University of Texas, which from what I read, it was a huge win for them. They hadn't won for a very, very long time. You had Jordan Spieth in the team, who was came on to win a couple of majors. What was that like?
Yeah, it's still probably the highlight of my career, even though I've won on the PGA Tour and done really well around the world. That aspect of having a team behind you. We had a wonderful team that year. You mentioned Jordan Spieth. Obviously, he's gone on to do great things. We had Cody Gribble, who's actually won on the PGA Tour, and then 2 other buddies of mine, Tony Hakala from Finland and Jonathan Vegas's younger brother, Julio Vegas, was on our team from Venezuela. So it was a really fun time. We were ranked number 1 pretty much most of the year. Got to nationals, and it's an interesting format because it's match play the last 3 rounds you play. So 8 teams get through to the match play and it's knockout from there. So you can have a bad day and get knocked out of the national championship. It's very hard for the top teams in the country to win that because it's obviously a bit of a crapshoot playing match play. So we ended up winning. It was at Riviera Country Club, which is one of the most prestigious clubs in Los Angeles. And yeah, it was just a crazy experience having won that. The last time the University of Texas won it was 40 years prior with guys called Ben Crenshaw and Tom Kite. I don't know if they're golf fans are listening, but they'll recognize those names. So for our university to go 40 years without winning a national championship is quite surprising. We've had guys come through that have won major championships. Justin Leonard, Bob Estes, Mark Brooks. There's been top guys that have been at the university, but they never managed to win that team championship while they were there. So for me, that was huge and crucial for my sort of pro aspirations as well. It gave me some limelight. I was one of the top 2 or 3 players in the country at that time. So it was a cool way for me to just end my amateur and college career and then progress on to the pro game.
And with that, are you a superhero on campus? Does everybody know you and understand what you've done? I mean, I know college sport is huge in the US.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I'd done that sooner in my college career. It was literally after I'd graduated when I made that putt. So it would have been nice to get some fame and fortune. But the American football players are the ones that get most of the limelight. I mean, our stadium seats 100,000 people. So all the football players get most of the limelight. But no, when I'm back there and I'm at a home golf course, everyone pretty much knows who I am. And if I'm on campus seeing some of the athletic staff and some of those people, I'll recognize and we'll catch up. But no, it's not like any fame of someone like, I mean, Jordan Spieth has more fame in that regard, and all the football players, Ricky Williams and those guys are pretty much the stars.
Excellent. Llewellyn, can we play the next video, please?
Anya, the lowest round out there today, finally breaking 90 with an 89. What went right today? I think it was my attitude. You know, considering that I only lost 6 balls, I was pretty level-headed throughout. I only dropped the F-bomb about 20 times, threw my club 4 times. So this is a mental game, and that helped me out a ton. Front 9 did seem a little difficult. You started off with a quad, then a triple, then a double, not getting your first par until the back 9. How'd you turn it around? I mean, the conditions on the front 9 just weren't optimal at all. You know, it was 75 and sunny. I play best in low 70s, so by the back 9 it cooled down, which is great. Also, this was a public course, so beer cans everywhere, divots were replaced. You know, I think what saved me was my putting. I 3-putted only 16 holes, and a lot of those were gimmies. So if I get those strokes back, I basically shot at 76. Last one, how did it feel to get that birdie on 14? Yeah, I had a great shot off the tee on that par 3, and I was able to tap it in for birdie. So, you know, it's shots like those that continue to prove to me and others that I have what it takes to be a professional. So I'll continue to put the work in once a week on Saturdays, and eventually that invitation to Augusta will roll around. So thanks, John. See you next week.
So Dylan, you see Sean there, he's still waiting for his invitation to Augusta, but it's an invitation that you've received and more than once. What's that like to get an invitation to the Masters?
It's pretty cool. I mean, these days, you know what the criteria is. You know, you've checked that box and the invitation's coming, but it's still cool to get that little letter. I guess most guys, I framed my first one, or a friend of mine got it off my hands and he framed it for me, but actually comes in 2 envelopes. You've got like a mailing envelope, and then inside that is another envelope addressed to you, and it's like one of those little Russian nesting dolls that you got to open and get to. It's quite a climax once you finally get to see that document. But no, the Masters is something that's really special. It's an awesome affair, but it's more so about the fans and the people and having family around this year. Obviously with COVID, we didn't have any fans there. It was a whole lot different. I did way better this year than I did the first time, but it was still a really special experience.
And when you play in the Masters, how does it work? When do you get to Augusta? Where do you stay? Just give us an idea of the logistics involved and the practice rounds and then also all the traditions. I know they have like a past winners dinner and stuff like that. Just take us through that, all those things.
Yeah, I think Augusta National Golf Club does a good job at sort of keeping their event traditional. So they have tons of things that make it unique. All the other championships in the world have sort of gone with technology and moved in a sort of modern direction. But at Augusta National, during the Masters, you're not allowed to have a cell phone on property. The only people that can have it are players. We can use it every now and then in discreet ways, but no cell phones on property. They have tons of cool little features. The food is really cheap. You're paying like $1 for beer and a sandwich, and like all the prices are super low. And beyond that, it's just a really cool experience because the grounds and the course is so beautiful. I tell people, hey, if you're not a golfer and you still get an invite to go there, you don't know anything about golf, you should still go because it's visually beautiful. The flowers and the trees and the stuff that they've done there to make the golf course look the way it does is amazing. It's sort of spiritual experience for any golfer, I think, because it's sort of hyped up that much. But even for someone they don't even know anything about golf, they can still appreciate the visual beauty of the place. But for me, it's a stressful week. It's a major. We have 4 majors on our calendar, and that's one of them. So we're always trying to peak for those events. Scheduling is tricky. Some guys get there the week before. They get there Thursday, Friday before the tournament. They spend a whole week playing the course to get used to it. First time I tried, I flew in on a Monday and probably didn't leave myself enough time. On the Wednesday, there's a par 3 contest, which is really fun. They obviously broadcast that, and guys bring their kids out, and their wives often caddy for them, and that's a fun experience on the Wednesday. But yeah, I've realized after this year that I got there on a Saturday and had a little more time to prepare, that I think the next few times I play, I'm going to definitely give myself more time to prepare for that stuff. And besides that, I can't think of too many other special events. Or I mean, yeah, we get to go in the locker room and we can basically go anywhere, check the clubhouse out and do whatever we want. So it's kind of like a kid being in a candy shop or going to Disneyland for the first time. You get to do whatever you want at such a prestigious club.
At the Masters, you came second in driving distance, or not that it's a competition, but how did you, after Bryson DeChambeau, but he became a beast over COVID. But how did you improve your driving distance?
There's many aspects to that. I spoke with my trainer and physio, Nick Catterall, at the end of the FedEx Cup season this year, and I mentioned, hey, why am I not hitting it any longer? I'm doing all these workouts in the gym, getting so much stronger. And he was like, oh, I thought you just wanted to be really consistent and strong and injury free. We never really talked about that. So I said, yeah, I'd like to hit it longer. There's a clear correlation between driving it longer and having your payday go up and your performance increase. So yeah, after I told him that, he was like, cool. And he just sort of researched it and came up with a few drills. We changed our workouts from primarily strength and power related workouts and added in a little bit more speed training. So a little switch here and there. And then with my Callaway guys, I got a driver that's an inch and a half longer, and we tweaked it a little bit and figured out a way to get an extra sort of 20 yards carry. So I went from 118 club speed to 123, 122, which 5 miles an hour on the club speed equals about 15, 20 yards carry overall. So those switches definitely helped me out, and I'm now in the top 20 on the PJ Tour driving average. So, and I haven't even that's 3 months or 4 months of trying. So we figure we can possibly get to about high 120s, almost 130 club speed at some point. So I'll keep pushing that avenue and try and get as long as I can.
And then top 5 finish at Augusta must give you a lot of confidence.
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, we obviously didn't have the fans and the crowds there this year, so that definitely helped me. I felt way more calm than I did the first time when I was at Augusta. But I mean, I play with the top guys in the world every week on the PJ Tour. It was just nice for me to do well in the major and actually push through and finish top 10, top 5. That was a really fun experience. And the crazy part was I was calm the whole time. Previous majors, I'd sort of been scared or timid, or I just didn't feel myself. I had adrenaline pumping, and this was the first time I've actually managed to, stand on a tee box or on a green and look around and just be totally relaxed and just try and execute on each shot. So that's something I can definitely draw on for future majors, and heading into next year, that's something that I'm really excited about, that I can sort of calm my nerves down and feel familiar. And every time you do something at that top level and you realize you can sort of hang with the top guys and do well, it gives you so much confidence.
And do you have any techniques for calming yourself down? I mean, you were leading the Masters on the first day. You were co-leader on the first day. Like when you come to the tee on the second day, how do you calm yourself down?
Yeah, it's tricky. Something that I've worked with my sports psychologist, Jay Bronzer, with hours and hours and hours. We do a lot of work on that. Many guys just think, oh yeah, I kind of walk around and figure it out, and you somehow find a way to be mentally calm and focused. But no, it's just like the physical side. It's just like my technical side. It's something that I work on, maybe not daily, but at least 5 days a week. I listen to some little voice notes that he's done for me and chat to him on the phone, and we come up with different ways. But the general theory is just sort of getting to a happy place, some place that you can quickly go to by closing your eyes and visualizing, and getting that sort of sensory awareness to calm down and get your body to just relax and calm the adrenaline down, some guys even shake. You got shakes in your hands, you're trying to make a putt, it's not easy. So those are little techniques that I use to try and help me out.
And in order to succeed at golf as you have, you need to have patience, self-control, ability to make strategic decisions. Do you use these skills off the course as well as on the course?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think my sort of sporting childhood definitely gave me a lot of skills to work on for my professional game. So I don't know, even the classroom, I probably learned a lot in the classroom between high school and university, and little things that you pick up. I'm a student in my mind. I'm a student of life. I try and research and study, and I'm constantly reading, constantly figuring things out. And if I don't know something, I'm going to Google it and try and know straight away. So I'm always inquisitive. I'm always asking questions, and the more people I meet, obviously, the more information I get, the more books I read, the more info I get. And I just feel like if you don't research and find things out during your life, you're just going to stagnate and not get anywhere. So for me, that sort of mindset is always something that's going to keep me active, keep me interested, and bring as much information to my career as possible. And then I guess just the people that you meet, you might as well use them and ask them questions. I've been fortunate enough to meet tons of top sports people around the world, tons of top business people. I've got some friends in the Navy SEALs, and those guys are crazy. To ask them questions about performance and stress and calming down your nerves and stuff like that is really cool. So yeah, I'm just I guess a student of life, and I like to find things out. I'm just interested in a lot of different things.
When most people have a bad day at the office, hopefully no one noticed, or maybe just one or two people. But when it goes wrong on the golf course, you're on TV, millions watching. How do you go about calming yourself down after that, or keeping focused?
It depends on the situation, obviously. But for me, the point is, we have another opportunity tomorrow. We can play another round of golf. We have another tournament next week. So tons of golfers get so upset with that shot that they just hit. I mean, amateur golfers, for me, that's the funniest part. They get so upset because they hit a bad shot. And I always remind them, I say, hey, hang on, Jeff, you know what the problem is here, right? And oh no, what's the problem? Was it my grip or my swing? I say, no, you're just not that good. You're an 18 handicap. That's the shot you should hit. Your expectation is trying to play like me, when your expectation should be trying to play like an 18 handicap. So for me, I even know, hey, I can hit terrible shots. I can hit bad ones. I even missed a ball playing in Las Vegas the other day. I was in the trees and I took a swing and clipped something on the backswing, and I literally missed the golf ball. So stuff like that happens, and you just got to be able to shake it off. And I just laugh at myself. I just go, how is that even possible? How have you got yourself into this mental state that you're so stressed and confused, and you make a bad decision and all of a sudden it costs you a few shots? But luckily, as I said, my career, you get to play again tomorrow in the next tournament. And as long as you're doing okay, you still have many more opportunities. And that sort of centers me and calms me down.
And during the COVID lockdowns, did you learn any lessons? I know you spent a lot of time in the gym getting fit and strong. Any other lessons that you learned from that period?
Yeah, I mean, I read a lot of books during quarantine as well. I wrote down some things in my notebook, but I can't think of anything offhand. That time was basically just time spent with my trainer, Nick. I mentioned him earlier. We were just lifting as much weight as we could. We had a nice periodized schedule, and I managed to get about probably 10 to 15% gains in certain areas on the physical side. So I didn't play golf for 7 weeks, I think it was. It was almost 2 months. So that's the only time in my career that I think I can afford to take a 2-month break. So I took that with two hands and just sort of put that to the side. And I wish I had more hobbies. I built a few Lego contraptions, but I didn't really get up to too much else. I tried to stay indoors and obviously follow the rules that the authorities were giving out.
And does this trainer, does he follow you around on tour? Does he move with you everywhere you go?
Yeah, so he's an Australian guy. He's got his physiotherapy degree from Australia, and then he's got a master's in strength conditioning. So he fills both roles, and he travels the PGA Tour. He's got 4 guys. He's had 5 in the past, but next year he's sort of simplifying it to 4 guys, and he just travels with us, does 20 to 25 events a year. And he's a really integral part of my team. And obviously he's become a good friend because he lives in Austin too, an Australian guy, so we can bond on a few things there.
And what do you do when you lose form? I know after you turned pro, you had quite a rough period, which you seem to have recovered brilliantly from. What did you do to overcome that?
Yeah, it's one of those tricky things. I know cricketers talk about it, a batsman, they haven't scored runs, they haven't done things. And it's like, how do you fix things? Do you change your technique? Do you work on your mind? Do you work on your physical side? Like what things do you do? And I had a tough time through 2014 into 15 and started coming out of it in 2016. And everyone asked me what was the solution. I honestly don't know. It was just continued work on all of those avenues, just making sure that you're working on your physical side, you're working with your coach. I had a really good summer, I guess, in 2014 with my coach in America, Chuck Cook. So he helped me technically get back in the right track and right mindset. But it's just a matter of being consistent. And I think going through that sort of hardship and learning from what went wrong has sort of forced me to look at it and stay in tune with all of those things and make sure I'm working on all of them for the rest of my career. I don't think I'll have as near bad a slump as that in the future, just because it's a reminder, hey, if you don't do all of these things consistently, your game is going to go in that direction. So keeping your finger on the pulse, making sure that world ranking stays up and your performance is still good. And that's sort of the reminder, the take home that I get from that. Just don't slip too far away from your normal habits and keep working in the right direction.
We've had a question from one of our audience. Best golf course you've ever played?
Oof, that's tricky. I would love to ask a follow-up question to this person as to if it's performance-wise playing the course, the toughest, sort of most fun course, or the most beautiful. I'll just answer it in those terms. For me, if I had one more round to play in the rest of my life, it would be the old course at St Andrews. There's just something special about that place, the city of St Andrews, and the vibe of the town, and that golf course being the home of golf. But from a performance point of view, a challenge, I think TPC Sawgrass in America, where we play the Players Championship, that course for me, Pete Dye design, really difficult golf course when they firm it up. And obviously the Players is known as the fifth major. So it's we actually played one round there, and then COVID shut it down this year. So I've managed to play one tournament round there. And yeah, that for me is the coolest golf course. And then just from a memories, nostalgia point of view, it would be Irene Country Club in Pretoria, where I grew up playing the game. I just have fond memories of playing after school in the afternoon, and you got some cows across the fence on the dairy there walking down, and late sunsets, and just beautiful scenes there and memories from when I was a kid.
They say if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Do you work?
Yes, I think there's sort of a common fallacy that pro golfers have the best life, the best career, the easiest life. And while it is rewarding, we make a lot of money, we get to travel, we get to see and meet new people, there are some downsides too. For me, the bane of my existence is packing. I'm super OCD, so it takes me at least 1 hour to pack. If I've got everything set out, it even takes me half an hour, 40 minutes. So for me, that's probably the worst thing. But besides that, I mean, everything else I'm willing to put up with. I'm single right now, no problems there. I've obviously been traveling my whole life, so it's tough to make a relationship work and stick, but I'm happy doing this stuff on my own and traveling and seeing family and making friends and sort of doubling down on that front. But yeah, there's tons of other things we have to deal with. I mean, we've got an Olympic year next year coming up, so you've got drug testing, you've got filling in your whereabouts, where you're going to be, you've got booking flights, you've got all kinds of scheduling issues to work out, and then stuff happens like COVID this year. You got to adjust, you got to find ways. Sometimes you don't get into certain tournaments that you were planning on. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into my career, and I thought it was going to be sort of, oh, just golf 24/7 once I turned pro. I left college where I was studying and working out and doing all this stuff, and then I turned pro, and it just sort of quintupled, the workload quintupled. I actually have guys around me now that can help pick up some of that slack and do some work for me, because it's not something that I can actually take care of in its perpetuity.
And just tell us how, there are a lot of lawyers on this call, just tell us how golf is regular. Like, do you have agreements with people? Like, do you have to have, I know they obviously sponsorship agreements. Do you get lawyers involved? Do you have a business manager? How does that side of golf work?
Yeah, that's quite an interesting field. I guess other sports may be similar, but golf is sort of specific in a way that we have different bodies that sanction and control the game. So I call him a manager because I hate the word agent. His name's Tim Drabeck. He lives in Buffalo, New York. Great guy. He's actually a lawyer. He deals with insurance cases for the Hartford, and he just helps me out on the side. So he's a really good lawyer, cool guy, and someone that I've become friends with. He does all my business deals. He goes out and searches for sponsors, and if I meet people, I'll just send them his way, and he can kind of negotiate and see if they're willing to sponsor me. Beyond that, it's pretty tricky. You have different tours in the world. I'm a member of the Sunshine Tour in South Africa, the PGA Tour in America. So they have certain regulations we sign up on, and all of our rights are sort of not stripped away, but we give certain rights to the tour, and they can use us as marketing on their different sponsorship avenues. And yeah, it's a very tricky space to work out. We have to give them a certain amount of days a year to basically use in pro-ams, and there's certain things we have to do to help the tour grow and on a media side. But besides that stuff, I can't think of too many other things. The sponsorship avenue is the trickiest one for us, because we have to weigh up how much we're getting paid versus how many days we're giving up to do those sponsorship activities. And obviously the branding, you can see some of the stuff I'm wearing now. So it's a fun thing to try and piece together and puzzle together. And it's a great thing that I have sponsors and I have opportunities, but I'm always looking for more. I haven't really found any South African sponsors before. So all my money has come from the States. So hopefully I can maybe tie it into my foundation here in South Africa one day and just find ways to enjoy the business side and learn more.
Okay, we've got a couple of questions on the Q&A that I think we should answer. I think one is a follow-up to what you've just said. Is how big is your professional team?
So yeah, right now it's pretty small compared to most guys. It's just Nick Catterall, my physio and strength and conditioning coach. Tim Drabick, my manager, agent, his wife helps out. Cindy helps a little bit with my bookings and flights and stuff here and there. I still do most of that stuff myself. And sports psychologist, he's in San Diego. I go visit him every now and then. That's not really full time. He doesn't travel much. He's a retired Navy psychologist, so he's enjoying his retirement. He just helps me out. Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I have a physio in South Africa that I use when I'm in Johannesburg, but yeah, I don't have any sort of company set up or any full-time staff or anything that I pay. It's all sort of just on contractual basis. And yeah, my caddy is probably the biggest position that I fill. He lives in Durban, South Africa, and he travels out to America. He's 60, he just turned 66 last week. So pretty old man. John Curtis lives in Mshlanga, as I mentioned, a Zimbabwean guy. But yeah, so that's the relationship, I guess, that I lean on the most. And John's been great the last 2.5 years. We've been working together, and I'm hoping to ride him out into old age. I bought him a stand bag, a smaller bag for the South African Open to try and make it easy on him. But he's so old school, he couldn't figure out the double strap system. He said, "Dill, just bring that big tour bag back. I don't care how heavy it is. It's a whole lot easier for me to carry." So yeah, that's pretty much my team.
Another question, you've played hockey, golf and cricket simultaneously, tennis too. Do you think that the simultaneous playing of these different sports help or harm your main sport of golf when you're learning the game?
It definitely helps. I think the advice I give to parents out there is get your kids to play as many different sports as possible. I think for me growing up playing, I played soccer, hockey, baseball, and golf at provincial level. So I played the other sports, cricket at a pretty high level. What else? Tennis, a pretty high. I still play some pretty good tennis myself. So if you can just give that diversity, and the things you learn from a physical point of view, from a mental point of view, are just crucial in turning yourself into I think there's sort of a fallacy in, Tiger Woods, his dad grilled it into him from the age of 2 or 3. Tiger's the only sort of athlete in the world that has progressed only playing one sport. You see all these other top athletes in the world, maybe besides some of the Asian bloc countries where they force kids into one avenue, but most people can play. Sergio Garcia, I played tennis with him the other day. He's so good at tennis and he is so good at golf. And these skills you learn obviously carry over and cross over and make you into a better athlete, in my opinion.
Excellent. And who is your sporting hero outside of the world of golf?
That's a tough one. Growing up, it was Jonty Rhodes. I really loved cricket and I really loved Jonty. Yeah, besides him, no, David Beckham on the soccer side. I was always a big David Beckham fan, but in recent years, I've not really watched too much sports, so it's tough to say I guess I could go on my social media and see what sort of athletes I follow on there, but I'm big into surfing now. So Kelly Slater's become a friend of mine and a really cool guy. So I love to support him when they're competing. Geordie Smith, South African surfer, obviously got to support him. He's an amazing talent, but yeah, I've lost touch with a lot of the cricket and the rugby and the stuff that I grew up loving. Being in the States now, we don't get much coverage. So I think maybe I'll try and tap into some of that stuff while I'm back here in South Africa.
And which is your favorite of the majors? I know you played in all of them. Which is the one that you prefer the most?
Favorite major? Honestly, favorite major to play is the PGA Championship, just because it's most like a PGA Tour event. So it's sort of calmer. There's a lot of fans usually, but it's the most easy one to acclimatize to. The Open Championship is just crazy. So many fans, crazy links golf course. I've not really excelled in that. I've made the cut, but I've never really progressed on and done really well. The Masters, same story there. Interesting golf course, really tricky, tons of fans. I've done well there now, thankfully last year, but the US Open I've only played in one. So played at Shinnecock Hills 2 years ago. So it's tough to say, but if I could win one, I think growing up the Open was always that was my sort of, I guess, top level tournament that I wanted to win. So the Masters would be cool, but I think the Open Championship to win would be my choice.
You're still young with the best days of your career still to come, but do you ever think of life after golf, or what would you be doing if you weren't a professional golfer?
Yeah, I always tell people I'm looking for that next stage of my life. I don't want to be playing golf till, or maybe I do, I don't know, but I don't see myself playing golf till the age of 55 or 60, competing on the Champions Tour. Maybe I will, but I have a little real estate company in Austin. I've got a few houses that I rent out, and that's sort of something that keeps me busy. I'm hoping to go into sort of more commercial side in the next few years, but we'll see. I'm not too sure. I think possibly in the sort of foundation, like charity work, that's something that has piqued my interest in recent years. So if I could find a calling there and find a way to do that and make that a full-time job once I'm done with my playing days, hopefully I can go into that sphere. But right now it's still full steam ahead. I've got my mind on playing for the next 5-10 years and trying to make as much money as I can and do as well as I can.
Absolutely. I think let me stop now with the questions, because we still want to watch the swings and get your comment on some swings after the closing remarks. So what guys, we're going to hand over to Julius. He's going to do some closing remarks. Thereafter, everyone can feel free to dial off. But for those that want to stay, you're welcome to do so. Dylan has kindly agreed to analyze some swings of some ENS, non-ENS professionals, very not professional golfers, and one guest performance. So over to you, Julius.
Thanks very much, Duran, and hi everybody. So I'm Julius Oosthuizen, and I'm Duran's partner in crime at the ENS commercial department. Dylan, thank you very much. I found this fascinating, and I think if we look at it, I was told to see what can we draw from your discussion in relation to leadership and apply that to the rest of life, And I think in fairness, and I'm sure you come across this, but people would tend to look at golfers as being one-dimensional and very sort of single-focused, But the things that you've spoken about today in terms of the way I think that you went about planning your career, I think that it's very clear that you kept a broader perspective on what you were looking to do, almost hope for the best but plan for the worst, and I think that there's a definite leadership lesson that one can draw from that. And I also liked very much what you were saying about being a student of life, and I think for all of that, that's probably the most critical thing to bear in mind is that in order to be a leader, you need to keep learning. And that's the only way that you can stay relevant and that you can actually continue to add value. So I really like that. And then to be honest, I think a sort of a theme around self-sufficiency on the one hand, but on the other hand, also knowing that you need to surround yourself with good people. And I would then say finally also self-awareness, knowing what my limitations are and what I need to work on. And so to my mind, I think those are some very good general themes that we could take out as leadership tips. So thank you for that. Duran, thank you. I think I should say to everybody on the call that the script for that chap who broke 90 and the way that he described his round is pretty much exactly how you would go talking about one of your rounds of golf. So I think that was Duran in disguise for anybody who wouldn't have picked that up. But thank you. I thought the questions were very insightful as well. And I think it was a really interesting 45 minutes. And then obviously thank you to everybody who attended, both internally and externally. I hope that it was an insightful time for you. I would probably take the golf swings that are going to come up next with a health warning, but please do stay and enjoy those. And then also just to everybody from the ENS side who organized, thanks very much for that. Okay. And there you go. Thanks, Duron.
Thanks so much, Julius. Llewellyn, I think if we could play the first swing now, that would be great.
Okay, I've been prompted. Yeah, this is Chloe showing us her golf swing. Pretty good move there. You asked me about playing different sports and having a background. She's clearly an athlete. You can see just her balance at address and the way she strikes the ball. She's definitely an athlete. I don't know why she's not wearing a glove. Someone probably needs to tell her to get a glove on her left hand there to hold on to the club so she can swing harder. But that's a really good move there. The weight shift, and she probably hits it about 180, 200 meters in the air, I would guess. Really good swing. I thought you guys were giving me bad swings.
No.
A good swing, yeah.
Coming out. So Chloe, if you're watching, it's Chloe's birthday today, so we just want to wish her a happy birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Chloe.
And
hope your left ankle injury is healing here.
Excellent.
Okay, we got a little good takeaway there. Club's good position at the top. Follow through is horrendous. I'm not sure what happened there. Everything looked great until contact. I mean, this takeaway is perfect. Club goes back, stays on plane, straight up the line. That's a really good position. And then that was definitely thin as well. That hit the bottom of the club. I think advice for this guy, I'm not sure who it is, just stay down on the ball, keep your head down for longer and work on your follow through. Everything's great right up until here. And then, yeah, no, follow through is no good.
Okay.
Maybe we're scared of that tree over there. I don't know. Who is that?
That was Jason Belkin, but he's a corporate lawyer, so you can.
Okay, we can forgive him. He's got his
fair
head in
game,
his
yeah.
laptop most of the day.
Yeah.
Nah, not bad. Not bad all in all. The follow through needs work. Is that MZ? I think you told me. Is that MZ?
No, that's
No?
Sasha Singh. That's Sasha Singh.
Sasha, okay. Strong stance, nice wide base with the driver. That's pretty good. I would guess he's about a 10 handicap, 10, 12 handicap. That'd be my goal. Obviously, I can't see a short game, but he definitely looks like he works out. Strong shoulders, strong body. He may need to work on his mobility a little bit, though. I think the backswing is a bit short. He's got some big biceps and chest that may limit him. No, I can't roast anything there. That's pretty good from the side angle, at least.
Okay, this is Z.
Oh, we got him Z here. Okay. I like that swing. Aggressive. See the right foot follow through there? He's definitely trying to give it as much ammo as he can. I think so many golfers end up just worrying about, their positions and trying to get the perfect swing here and there. But you can see he's clearly committed to this short backswing and just stand and hit it as hard as he can. I think golf's more fun that way. So many guys try and just control their swing and look all pretty and stuff, but I like the fact that he's gone aggressive with the driver.
This is Matthew.
Okay, I've got a side angle view here. First one face on. I'm not sure about the hat choice here. He is in the shade, so I'm not sure the hat needs to be there. He looks good though, stylish, I guess. Let me see that again. I wasn't really focused on the golf swing. I'd just seen the hat and that sort of stole my focus. Nice full swing. Pretty good motion there. I think seeing it from face on, you often get to see the timing a lot better because you can see the club going back and coming through. And this guy's definitely a golfer. I would probably say if he's not a single figure handicap now, he has been at some point in his life. Yeah, not too much I can fault there. The footwork's also pretty good. He's pretty adept at moving those feet and shifting his weight, which is a good thing in the golf swing. Okay, we've got another face on here. Driver swing. Decent swing. I'm going to have to see it again. Sorry, I was distracted by the weight shift there on the way forward. So leaning back on the backswing here, and then as he goes through, shifts the weight forward. What tip I would give, I would say stay back on that right side a little bit longer and just swing a little bit harder. As you shift your weight forward, you're sliding, getting a little bit of speed with the club. But if you hang back a little more and pull left on it, you'll definitely get a lot more distance. But yeah, I guess Not much I can fault there. I need to see a few more angles to critique it, but looks like a pretty good move as well. Tempo seems good. Nice backswing. Decent follow through. The other thing is looking at the ball right off the face. Keep your head down for longer. Just, is that you, Duran? I can't even see.
Yeah, that was me. That was me.
That's you. Okay. Just stay head down a little bit longer. So you can see looking at the target, and then as soon as the ball goes off the driver, you're looking to find it.
Yeah.
And your body is coming up and out of it a bit. So just stay down on the ball, hit it, follow through, and then bring your head up naturally. You don't need to be sort of watching it right off the face. That would be my little tip there.
Okay. Do we have we had all the swings? I think, yeah, we've had all the swings. So Dylan, it just gives me an opportunity to thank you so much. This has been a fantastic hour. I've really enjoyed talking to you. You're a very insightful guy. You're a smart guy, and you know, a fantastic talent of the golf course. And I think your career is going to just go forward with, you know, I think you're going to win a major or two. And we're really excited just to watch you play. I know on Sunday of the SA Open, I had my whole family watching you, hoping that you would, you know, come through and win. It wasn't to be, but there'll be more occasions. And just thank you so much. I think you're a fantastic guy, and thanks for making the time available to speak to us today. And really enjoy your break, and we look forward to watching you in the new year, and look forward to more victories. Thanks,
sure, no worries. I was glad to be a part of it. Thanks for inviting me. And I felt like I didn't really expand much on the leadership side. I definitely have a lot more ammunition for that, but hopefully I gave people a sort of glimpse into my life and things that make the golf realm or my professional golf career interesting. And hopefully they got a nice, cool inside look.
Thanks very much.